All right, guys, game day. Today, Orlando City takes on Charlotte FC, and I've got another camera to review. It feels like I've been doing nonstop camera reviews, but this one I've been really looking forward to. This is the Sony A9III. Tonight, I'm going to pair it with the 70-200 f2.8. I did a video last week with the A1 paired to this lens. I thought it did extremely well. I'm looking forward to this evening. I'll take the A1 again, but this time it'll be on the 400mm 2.8. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the close-up stuff with the A9III. I really want to dive into that 120 frames a second and see how it does. So, yeah, follow along. So I threw these in here. This is basically a video I cut within the video I took and slow it down and show you the effects of the 120 and how really good it looks at 120 frames a second within those videos. I've done it in this one as he jumps up for the header. I slow it down to 120, heads the ball, and once he drops, I speed it back up. It is extremely clear. I don't feel like you lose anything, any video quality. I think it really looks good. And in this second one, I do the same thing. They're jumping for a header. They both go up. I slow it down. The slow-mo looks so good. And I want to just make sure that you know this is the 70-200 shooting from behind the touchline on the other end, behind the baseline, behind the goal, through the entire field to the other goal. So this isn't like a super close-up shot, and I still think the video came out fantastic. So what I lost in the megapixels as far as being able to zoom in and out, I more than made up for in sharp images up close. The A9III absolutely killed it. I love Sony's color science. I think their colors are fantastic straight out of camera. These are all images that you see now that are the pre and then the post editing. So the very first one is Facundo Torres. It's a player. He was probably about 5 to 7 yards away from me when he received the ball in the air. As you can see, I put all my settings up there. It was ISO was 2500. I set my white balance earlier before the game started. And then I ran my shutter speed right around 12500. I'm typically right in that range. Normally through the evening games, especially at this stadium, I'll run somewhere 3200 maybe as far as ISO is, and I like to keep my shutter speed between 2000 and 2500. But this first image, tack sharp, you see all I did was cropped it in just a little bit, brought the subject closer, and added my my presets, and then I put a 10% noise reduction because it is a little grainy and a little loud, a little noisy at this stadium in the evening. This is another one. The second shot here is Rodrigo Schlegel, one of the center backs. I lost focus. I did struggle a little with the autofocus tracking. Typically, I shoot center fixed. Lately, I've been pushing myself a little bit to trust the camera and trust the autofocus system within that camera. And so I lost it because their attacking player Reem came in between Rodrigo Schlegel and myself and the camera. And so it caught, I lost focus on the subject as they were in the air. It went from 2 or 3 frames in the air to catching Ream's back, and it held focus on Ream's back all the way through the play. So unfortunately, I lost that one a little. I think it still came out okay. I cropped it. You can see it doesn't look horrible, but you can clearly see that sharpness ends on Ream and doesn't extend to the players that he's facing, unfortunately. The next image was just the player sending the ball in, service in across the box. As you can see, I just cropped it in, cleaned it up, brought the exposure up just a little bit, and added my preset. So on this image, Dagger Dan, a player for Orlando, is just this side, just my side of half field, of midfield. That's where you're going to kind of run out of range unless you're just wanting to get giant, wide open, loose shots. I put the 1.4 converter on it for this one. So it took me to f4 automatically when you attach that. And then I ran my ISO up to 3200 and I dropped my shutter speed down a little bit, slowed it down to 1/2000th of a second. But as you can see, it edited great. I was able to crop in. You can actually see the midline just about where he's just beyond him, probably about 10 feet beyond him is the midline. You're able to get it. It's still pretty sharp even at f4, and like I said, this stadium is super dark and it's got some really bad holes in it as far as lighting. But yeah, I enjoyed these shots. In conclusion, the A9III, fantastic. It's a phenomenal camera. I don't think it's for everybody. If you're a sports shooter and you're shooting close-up stuff, yeah, it would be hard to beat. Maybe like a tennis match or even volleyball where you could be a lot closer to the subjects. Or if you could be on the sideline of a soccer game, I think it would be great. For me personally, I need a little longer distance to be able to grab. So I would probably stick with my A1 just because the higher megapixels I'm able to crop. Yes, I know a lot of photographers do not crop. I tend to crop a lot. I like to pull the subject close, full frame it as much as I can. So yeah, I think the 120 frames is a lot. It's a ton. So you can't get too trigger happy or you're going to have 6,000 photos in an evening before you realize it. So that was a little interesting culling through all that, but you don't miss the shot. I can almost guarantee you that. I struggled a little with the autofocus, like I said before, but it wasn't anything you can't overcome. It did very well tracking other than a couple instances and they mainly all were in the air or players coming from both right and left sides crossing. It just got maybe a little jumbled, but other than that, I thought it did fantastic. The 4K 120 frames is ridiculous. It's so smooth, as you can see in those videos. I liked it a lot. I could really see creators using this a lot for different things, kind of an all-in-one camera. You still shoot stills, you could shoot sports, close-up sports with it, and you can do really good video with it. Yeah, I could see where a lot of people are going to be really into this camera still. The price difference being so close to the A1, somebody like me professionally shooting sports photography, I'll probably stick with the A1, but I like where they're going with it. The ergonomics of this camera are the closest I've ever had to the Canon R3, which in my opinion is one of the best feeling cameras in the hand. So I really like where Sony's headed with that. I hope they think about that and carry that into maybe the A1 Mark II, but who knows? We'll see. And I still would love to see Sony come out with a 100 or 300 to compete against Canons. I think that's the best soccer lens there is. So I could only imagine what that would be like if you could pair it with like an A1. So yeah, I thought it was a great camera. If budget's not a thing, go for it. I think it's fantastic. Like I said, for photographers who maybe are doing close-up stuff or stuff in the daylight where putting that 1.4 teleconverter on and going to an f4 isn't a big deal, yeah, I'd say go for it. If you like this video, hit subscribe. On to the next review. We'll see you in the next one.